right, welcome to today's episode of Tomorrow's Leader, where we dive deep on all stuff leader related. Welcome to our future leaders of the world who are listening or watching to this. If you haven't gotten a chance, make sure you catch the last few episodes. We've had some fantastic guests on this show, and we have some more coming up for sure over the next few weeks. But I love interviewing people because it gives me an opportunity to learn from them. I love to bring people on and ask them tough questions about leadership and just their perspective. A lot of times we get some great stories coming out of that, and I think anytime you can apply some kind of principle, leadership principle, to a story, that really hammers home and makes it something that's going to stick with you. So I encourage you, as you start learning about leadership, just be observant. Start to pick up different things that are happening and relate them to some of the things you're learning. And I trust me, they will stay with you. And there'll also be easy ways for you to teach those principles to other people, because part of being a leader is teaching other people how to be a great leader. So what I thought we'd do today is to break down a couple of the questions that I've gotten a lot and get asked a lot as they relate to leadership. And one of the questions, which I think is a really good question, because it's no doubt a tough thing that anybody has to deal with, is how do you break through to the next level? We all have different periods of time where we feel like we're stuck in a plateau. And there's nothing wrong with plateaus. There's a great book out there called Mastery, where it talks about the beauty of being in a plateau and to be comfortable with being in a plateau. Because when you're in that, you are growing. And most of our life is a period of time where we're growing. We don't see it or feel it. But in reality, during that period of time, we're getting ourselves set for the next stage of big growth. So, and that's exciting. Anytime we've all had that, where we've broken through to the next level, maybe it's mentally or physically or spiritually or business-wise or financially, and that feels great. So is there something you can do to kind of push yourself through to the next level and create that breakthrough sooner than it might happen? Yes, without a doubt. And my answer to that is at the beginning of any major breakthrough, at the onset of it, is what I look at and call brutal honesty. Because what happens is we have convinced ourselves more times than not that we do things better or different than in reality we do. And let me give you an example. We tend to exaggerate the good things that we do and downplay some of the negative or bad habits that we have. And I find this in all different areas of life. So, if we look at ourselves and let's say we're trying to get into better shape physically, we might underestimate the amount of bad food we eat in the course of a week. We might be surprised that we've gained a couple pounds over a course of a week. And we might say, well, I don't really understand it because I'm eating pretty well. But in reality, if we went back and tracked what we eat, we'd find that, I really wasn't eating really well. And I had that frozen pizza, or I was eating late at night, or I was snacking throughout the day. And all of a sudden, the reality of our situation starts to make sense. It's like, okay, well, how could I expect to have lost weight? And I shouldn't be surprised that I gained weight because my diet was kind of crap. And the same thing on the other end with good habits, working out. I don't know why I'm gaining weight. I'm working out a lot. Well, when I actually take a look at it, my gym does this really cool thing. Sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's not, where it tells you on your app how many times you visited the gym. So you can't lie to yourself. You're looking at it and it's telling you, okay, this month I went 7 times. I thought I went 20. So it's a big dose of reality. It's forced, honesty because you're tracking it. So anytime you're really tracking it, it's going to force you to be more honest. I find this, and being in financial services for 25 years, I found that happened all the time with clients. We tend to underestimate how much we spend each month. And when we track expenses, all of a sudden you realize, wow, I didn't realize I was spending that much on going out to eat or these hobbies that I have. So brutal honesty is the first step. Other things might be in terms of my activity. Let's say I'm in a career that requires a lot of a specific activity. It might be a marketing activity. It might be making phone calls. It might be, doing a certain amount of writing, whatever it is. We tend to overestimate and give ourselves too much credit for what we think we do. What we want to do is ultimately what we end up convincing ourselves that we have done. When we really peel back the layers and look, it's truly a real different picture. And that paints the picture of why reality is reality, right? So if I'm leading an organization, if I'm a coach of a team, or I'm a leader of an organization or a church or anything, I've got to look at what reality is. I've got to bring the team together and say, okay, if here's where we are and here's where we're trying to get to, then I ultimately need to paint, and we also all need to take ownership of our current reality. No exaggerations, but what our current reality is. So that's the first thing. Ask yourself, if you're not making a breakthrough, are you truly aware and being conscious of what your reality is with that area of your life or your business? So I hope that helps. Another question I get too is if I am running a business or an organization or just trying to create a certain result with this group that I am leading, there's so many different things to pay attention to, especially if we have a large scope role. There's all these data points I can look at and people that I need to be concerned with. How do I ultimately drive this business? And I can't focus on 100 different things. What are the things that I need to be focused on? And in reality, in our brains, we can really only focus on 3 things at the same time. It's really difficult when you're trying to focus on 50 or 20 or even less or more, rather. So what I think about is, what are the vital stats of your business? What are the vital statistics of your business? Meaning, what are the things that are most important? If you were going to look at 3 stats, for example, 3 levers of your business, what would they be? And for many businesses, they really come down to the same thing. If I'm running a business, let's say I'm running a coffee shop, I might look at my vital stats as 3 different things. And those 3 things are going to be the number of selling opportunities that I have each day or each week. And then of those selling opportunities, what is my percentage that I sell, my sale rate or closing ratio? And then the third would be, on average, when people do make a purchase or a sale is made, what's the average size of that sale? If I multiply those 3 things together, that's going to give me my revenue. So if I'm looking at a weekly basis, number of selling opportunities, if I did run a coffee shop, would be the number of people that come into the coffee shop, right? So that's the number of potential sales. And then my closing rate or sale rate would be, of those people that walk through the door or go to my website, if it's an online business, what percentage of them actually do engage and make a sale? Now, if it's a coffee shop, I would expect that's probably going to be pretty high. Not many people walk in and don't buy something, but maybe some do. My closing ratio might be pretty high. Then of those people that make a sale, what's their average, or make a purchase, what's their average purchase? And as a business owner, I need to be focused on which of those levers is going to be most impactable rather. So if I'm a coffee shop, I might say, okay, I can drive my average sale volume because I can simply do some things that might add to their purchase. Maybe I have some chocolate covered espresso beans at the counter. I have other things that they can have, muffins and pastries and things like that. And that's going to drive my average sale. So as a business leader, that's one of the best things you can do, is simplify things and determine, okay, what are my vital stats? And then how am I going to take actions to move those levers? And that's what a great business leader does. Doesn't mean you ignore everything else, but you have to have your sights really focused on what's most important. And what I've seen great leaders do, they know those numbers. You've seen great shows. I watched The Profit, I watched Shark Tank, and those are great shows because they teach you a lot about business, they teach you a lot about leadership, but you also see the difference between a business owner that really knows their business and one that doesn't. You can see Marcus Lemonis on The Profit, and he can size up pretty quickly a business owner's likelihood of success based on asking a few questions. And you'll see some of those business owners, that stammer, they don't know the answers to their vital stats, in which case, it's pretty clearly going to paint a picture of what the future is going to hold. Great leaders know their business. They know their vital stats. They know their numbers. Numbers don't lie. Going back to the previous point, if I'm going to make a major breakthrough, I need to be reality-based. And part of that is, hey, I look at the numbers, I can see. I might think 1,000 people are coming into my store every day, but in reality, if it's 400, that's a big difference. And that's a big problem if I'm operating under the assumption that more than twice are actually coming in. So you'd be surprised at how many leaders or business owners don't actually take a look or track numbers accurately. You have to. Or you have to have somebody on your team that does. So I know leaders that aren't overly analytic or detail-oriented, but the smart ones are ones that have put people on their team to make sure that they have a grasp and a really good handle on what the numbers of the business look like. So that's it for today. Short episode today, but a couple of questions that came up, and figured I'd address it in this forum. I hope you get an opportunity to, again, go back and look at or listen to some of the episodes that we've had in the past. And we got another great guest coming tomorrow and a couple more next week. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, comment, share, all that kind of good stuff. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.